favor. This is one more, please. How you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, sir.
Man, I appreciate you coming. It's a very hot Saturday right before a game.
It's toasty, man.
Yeah, man. It's the first time we actually record the day before a game. So it's a thrill, I would say. You know, wake up, take my dog out for a walk, take a nap, get ready.
The pregame, man.
Pregame, heck yeah. Hey, what's the best way to pregame is with a good conversation?
100%, man. That's inspiration. We put God inside ourselves through other people, through our words.
Hell yeah. And, before anything, welcome to Otra, por favor. My name is Richie. And as you guys know, this podcast is about holding conversations that revolve football, life, and culture. And today I have the honor of hosting a very talented artist, but he also has an amazing story, which we're going to talk about. When I first started the podcast and I saw his work and I saw the George Floyd mural, I was like, dude, I got to have this guy here. So I'm a believer of, it's kind of like a birria or a good barbacoa, the slowly cooking, the more information you get. So it's better because when the conversation comes, it's going to be a banger. So hopefully it's one of those. And before anything else, I also want to say thank you to Still Austin Whiskey Co. for sponsoring this episode. And today it's a gin-based drink. I'm drinking the Day Tripper just because to stay fresh. It's just a straight up gin and juice. Another thing that I have is thanks for everyone that's that has listened to our episode or watching on any platform that we have it out there. I appreciate you guys. And let me know which is your favorite type of drink with gin, your recipe, and then I'll try to make it here. Maybe one day you come and, have a conversation with me here with the drink, with the recipe you send me out. And without any further ado, I want to just go into your life, Chris. Let me get to know a little bit more about you. Where are you originally from?
I grew up in South Carolina, a small little town off the coast of South Carolina called Hilton Head.
Okay.
It's only 12 miles long. A resort. It's a beautiful place to live, but it's a small town, man. Like I said, it's only 12 miles long, and you fart on one end and someone smells it on the other. That's how small it is, and that's one of the reasons I moved away, to be honest with you, man. Yeah, it was just, it was a beautiful place to grow up, man. The neighborhood I grew up in was beautiful because it had like 40 kids that were within like 2-3 years of me. Okay. So playing outside was the shit. Mm-hmm. I mean, hide and go seek, capture the flag, football. We used to have pine cone fights, man. It was lit. It was lit. It was a good time, man. But we'll get into it. But moving away was a decision I made because I wanted to be around not necessarily just more people, but more people that were passionate about what they did.
Okay.
People that were serious about what they did, and it didn't have to be painting, but just passion. Passion is contagious. So
that's an interesting thing because I think a lot of people in Austin, even including myself, I lived in Galveston for 15 years, but I was born in Mexico City, so I was used to this big city, and then coming to a smaller place where you go from 20 million people to 70,000. It's a huge difference.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and then but you said something about passion. How was, like, say for example, your family dynamics? How was your childhood like?
Well, I was raised by a single mom.
Okay.
My mother was everything. My father wasn't in the picture. He had a problem with alcohol, and so it was a good thing that he wasn't in the picture. But I had an older sister. I have an older sister, so it was really just me, my sister, and my mother growing up. Man, it was real small. So thank goodness I played sports. I played baseball and soccer, and eventually I was playing hockey a little bit later on. But you know, my friends, my teammates, those were like my family. Is the audio going in and out?
No, it's good. That's good. It's sometimes it's the little fan that, you know, that kicks. But usually I can always tell by the little wave right there. So that's good.
Oh, we're good. Check one. Check
good. Two. Nah, you're good at it. And I'm always checking to make sure the like everything's still recording. Because there's times that the video stops and then you're like laughing, and then you're still like this and like, yeah, let's take a quick break. It happens. It has happened to like I have a group of friends, right? And then but that group of friends, you know, out of all the guests, it's just only 4 or 5 guys that come, and every time one of those guys come, the audio is like just sinks. Anyone from, I would say, from the valley, like down by Brownsville, McAllen.
Oh, okay.
It has like the camera and them is something to do where, you know, like I don't know what it is, the focus or you know, trying to pick up their good posts or whatever, but it is just one of those that it's technology, and I'm always ready, like, all right, we're good.
I think we're gonna make it.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you grew up with your mom, and then you play soccer. What position did you play?
I started out when I was super young. I was playing defense, but all through middle school, high school, into college, I was playing up top, playing striker.
Oh, bro. You got like the number 9 killer instinct, like Ibrahimovic?
Yeah, I'd say Ronaldo.
Okay.
That was my guy. The original Ronaldo.
The phenomenon?
That's right. Exactly, man. The deal. And then Ronaldinho was my guy. But yeah, playing up top, played all through college and still fool around. But soccer was what did it for me. Okay. I mean, I played, you know, I was outside of sports. I was obviously doing art. I can do art, you know, since I was a kid. Comic books are what got me into art. I didn't even start painting till I was like almost 18. But, you know, comic books, cartoons. I was big into Ninja Turtles, man. I used to do my own comic books when I was young. But sports, I'd say, really helped me develop a work ethic. In a sense, it also helped me develop a sense that if I, you know, am I consistent with this action? If I focus on this, I could set goals, and eventually I could achieve some things. And that really helped me once I got to a point where I wanted to do my art full time. Okay.
And then, like when you were playing sports and you picked basketball, soccer, and then hockey, that helped you get a scholarship to college, or how did you go to college?
Well, long story short, I started playing hockey when I was 11, and I know hockey in South Carolina, there wasn't any hockey. Yeah. Like the closest ice rink from where I was living in Hilton Head was like 2 hours away. Okay. So it'd be like driving from here to Houston each time. So me and 2 of my friends, our families would just carpool a couple times a week. That's how I got started playing. But you know, eventually I got the opportunity where I got recruited to go to a prep school in Connecticut, Pomfret School, and it was at this school where I learned to paint, and I got the opportunity to obviously play college or have colleges look at me for soccer and for hockey. So it was a great stepping stone. I mean, the schools that I went to were small Ivy League schools up in New England. So I mean, there are opportunities that were afforded to me because of directly my experiences with sports and art. So it was those 2 big things that literally shifted my whole reality. Okay. And, you know, where I'm at now is a direct result of those experiences.
And when you were in school, what was your personality like? Were you introvert, extrovert, like in between?
Very much how I am now. Extrovert, but introvert. I'd say like 60% extrovert, but there comes a point where I need to go. I need to be alone. I need to be by myself. Yeah. I need to do my own thing and just kind of let that reservoir replenish itself. And then, but I get to a point where if I spend too much time alone, man, I get weird. I get awkward. I overthink things. Yeah. I get imposter syndrome when everything becomes really, really serious. Everything becomes really important, and it's a competition, and just, I don't know. My paradigm has shifted over the years from being around other people and being by myself. And, you know, very much like sports, with my art, I get a lot of inspiration from being around other people. That's one of the main reasons I moved to Austin, Texas, was to be around, like I said, other people that are passionate about what they did, namely in music. I get a lot of inspiration from music. I can't play an instrument to save my life, but like when I was back in Hilton Head, when I first started doing my art full time, what helped me get started was I would set up with musicians on the island, and wherever they were having gigs on different resorts and restaurants or bars or whatever, I would set up there and paint live while they were doing their thing. So live art and live music has been a huge hook for me getting everything started.
So like whenever you were doing live painting, and the ideas that came were ideas that just popped in your head at the moment, or was it something you thought you already had in your mind, before then?
Yeah, sometimes I would show up and just kind of do something in the spur of the moment, or just like whatever the moment's bringing me. But for the most part, I usually have like an idea ahead of time that I'll sketch out. But the first time I'll paint it is when I paint it live. So there still is that like spontaneous, like I'm figuring out a puzzle for the first time, like live in front of somebody else, an audience, what have you. And there's just something different about the art that I do live as opposed to the art that I do in my studio or by myself. It's different. There's a different energy to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's super nerve-wracking to paint in front of other people. But after like the first 10, 15 minutes, once I get past like the nervousness and maybe some anxiety or excitement I might have, it's so much fun. Like there's some freedom that I have that I don't normally have when I'm alone a lot. But when I'm doing the live art, often enough, when I go back and do to my studio or I'm doing art by myself, that energy from those live experiences comes back with me.
That's an interesting thing, because you're taking yourself like in a studio. I'm pretty sure it's a little more comfortable. You sort of take your time. You don't have the pressure of people looking at you when you're doing live art. But it's just like, say, for example, it maybe brings a different creativity, because when you're out there doing something, that it might take some time, or, it could be an off day or whatever. And then you come in and you do it. It's just like, it's a different energy. It feels like you're bringing, like in soccer, or like what I see as, a soccer player. The training is, with the teammates. It's easier to train with the teammates, because the teammates already know you. You don't have 10,000 people looking at you, and everything is on you. It's just maybe 30, 40 the most, or 50. But whenever you create something good in the pitch, I believe it's easier to translate, because all the pressure, and you come out with a good game, and you come in and you already know, okay, this is what I did this good game with a bunch of people. How can I apply it in practice? And then you build up from that moment for training and in future games, to where in training it's just, you're not really competing. I would say I'm maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking like the light part is part like the competition part. All eyes on you, and the studio part. It's still work, but it's more like a practice, or a little more of an intimate type of way of doing art.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Sometimes, and this is true of sports too for me, but sometimes the performance is easier than being by myself. A big paradigm shift for me overall, just in life, outside of sports, well, with sports and art, is understanding that the biggest impediment that I've ever had is myself.
Okay.
And my thoughts. Like, there's not a person on earth that could say the things that my mind will tell me sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody's like protesting my dreams. Yeah. Nobody's saying I'm an imposter, or I'm not good enough, or this, that, and the other. But my mind will think that. It will. And I've learned how to override that is through action. And it's, one of the things that I was trying to do. Another big part of my story is also recovery. Okay. Oddly enough, ironically enough, dog. Like, I would love to have some whiskey. There's a part of my brain that will always love to have some, but it's been about 10 years for me being sober. But that's probably been the biggest shift for me mentally, with my art and everything. And I know before there there were times, in certain games, playing hockey or soccer, where, I'd be in that zone. Everybody experienced that zone where it's like, time doesn't exist. Hours or minutes feel like hours, or hours feel like minutes, and time flies, and time is different. And it feels like everybody's, in slow motion, and you're in fast forward, and it's just working. You're not even thinking. And I was always trying to figure out, what is that zone? Where is that place? How do I, where's the happy medium between giving a fuck and not giving a fuck? I was always trying to figure that out, that balance. And it really wasn't until, recovery that I started to get a sense of, for me, this is for me, everybody's different, but for me, I don't need to be pumped up. I don't need to be, I wake up every morning, game 7. It's game 7, overtime mode. Like, everything is that serious. Like, nobody has to light a fire under my ass. Like, if anything, I need to chill out. I need to have some fun and just experience the moment. You know what I mean? Just let go of the results, or let go of expectations, and just swan dive.
Then I see, like, and I'm a bit different because I wake up every morning like in a 0, and then I build up. But I sometimes, and I put my mind that way because, you grew up, with pretty much nothing. You grew up struggling. So I didn't ever want to get to the point to where if I had something, or like, I already got it made. So, bring yourself back down so then you can build up again. Yeah. Which is, it's tough sometimes because, like, there's things that are out of your hand when you're, waking up and you're like, oh, damn it, like, you have to get this report done, or just stuff is not going right, or the sales in the company are not the best at the moment. Or it could be, just like random things, like, I don't know, I woke up with like a headache or whatever. But then after that kind of helps on, okay, you know what? Just get out there. The first thing for me is like the most important step to when you wake up is to take the first step and build. Because then from that is like, okay, I already took the first step. Boom, I can do this. I can do this, and then the next step. And also I started training, doing, whether it was powerlifting in the past. Right now I was doing a little more body dynamics, but it's always, okay, I already got the first round done of 5, workouts. Now I can do 4 more rounds of it. And then little by little toward, the last one is like, okay, I'm already there. Like, I just got to finish it, and that's it. It doesn't matter how. You could be the worst balance. You could be the best balance, but you just got to, see that clock, like clock out, like count down to 0 to where like, okay, I got it done. I completed. But I've noticed that whenever, I'm in a situation where, man, it feels like shit, it's kind of like, this is where I gotta show up.
I hear you. Sometimes the biggest gain that I'll get is showing up on those days that I don't want to. You know what I mean? So I feel you on that one.
And so you wake up every day, like when you talking about in the past you talked about, there's a point in time where you have to learn how to, to give a fuck. What was like, do you recall times where you didn't give a fuck, or you were just like, fuck, whatever, and I'm just gonna, not really care about anything? Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Like there were years of that. Absolutely. Yeah. Look, one of the reasons I am where I am today with my art and my career and just life is because of the darkness. Like I said, like sports were even more than my art. Sports were my foundation, man. They were my dream. They were my everything. And because of my drinking, I ended up quitting. Quitting hockey after my sophomore year, during my sophomore year of college. And this was, imagine me quitting art right now, right? It's insane to think about, but I quit. I'd never quit anything in my life. And that's something that stuck in my heart like an anvil for years and years and years. And so one of the reasons I am where I am right now with my art, and I think why my art started to take on greater proportions is because when I was starting out and I had no prospects, like nobody believed in my dream. I was kind of embarrassed to even call myself an artist. Like when people would ask me what I did for a living, I was like, I'm an artist. like almost like a whisper, artist. Yeah, exactly. Like that. I was like ashamed of it. But what lit my fire, what was my ember is this, that I'll never give up again. Mm-hmm. I'll never give up. That shoulda, woulda, coulda world that I felt after quitting something that I loved so much. Like, and you know what it is. Like, you've played sports. Like, I'll take a loss. Mm-hmm. I'll take a loss if I know that I've prepared for it. If I did everything in my power, if I showed up and I showed out and you beat me, yo, high five, man. You got that.
Yeah, it's like, it's just the competition, but you didn't give up. Like you kept going at it.
Exactly. But conversely, like if I haven't done everything in my power, if I half-assed it, if I, just phoned it in and then I lost, like that's going to sting, man. And that's how it felt. Quitting hockey when I did in college. And that's something that stuck with me. And for years when, I wasn't making any money and I was broke and couch surfing and, going grocery shopping and buying cheese and ramen noodles and like that was it. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bread and peanut butter, that's it. Like that's what kept me going is like, yo, I'm never giving up. I don't care. I don't care if I'm broke for the rest of my life. I'm going to be broke for the rest of my life, but I'm never going to give up again.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's at that point where the universe, whatever you're into, whatever you're striving for starts to tilt your way, is when you just fucking take a step off that cliff and say, fuck it.
Yeah. That's, so I have a very similar story, but in a different way. So the way we came to this country was, I crossed the border, right? Mm-hmm. And then back then, before we were in California, and I didn't really have any dreams, or I didn't really have any like goals in mind when I was from 13 to maybe 14. But then I was like, okay, we were in Mexico for a while, and then we came back, and I think my dad asked me like, hey, so now that we're gonna go back to to the U.S., what are your plans? And I'm like, I'm gonna go to college and graduate from college. He's like, seriously? Like, no, I'm pro. Dude, and that's like after me saying that, after going to Mexico for a year or so and failing 6 out of 8 classes. And the only 2 classes that I was passing was English and art, because I learned English in California. And then I was, we were going through the like before we crossed the border, there was, the narcos came to the hotel in front of, where we're at, and they were shooting at the coyotes because they didn't pay it. Damn. But more so just to, get everything ready for us to cross. That happened. And that night, my dad was like, so you really want to do this? And like, hey, we're already here. Like, I mean, for me, it's kind of like, fuck it, if I die, I die. Like,
respect.
And then I was like, all right, cool. So then we were crossing the border. It's like hot, like around this, this season. So I'm like, all right, we make it here. And then I just, see the lights at night, and it's Houston. And we made it to Houston. Like, all right. And then the coyotes actually told me, like, hey, dude, don't lose yourself in this country. Do That's something funny. With your life. And I'm like,
that's funny.
This is like the most ironic thing to say to somebody, but I would take that. I appreciate that advice. And I remember that because from that, like I got the I don't know what clicked. I don't know if it was, that experience right there, but school was easier for me afterwards. I was, I was illegal for some time, and I was able to go to college and pay for, college cash. And then all of that was just like, okay. All of that was just based on that situation where, you know what, I'm not going to look back. And if I ever look back, it's because I'm going to go somewhere back with tools to do something different and not go back to a situation where I was in the past. And now sort of, I don't know if you ever heard of DACA, but it's something that the Supreme Court might take away or not. And we're dealing with that, but that's a different issue. But now it's like, it's stuff that's out of your hands. But at the end of the day, for me, it's like, okay, like you said, you'd rather like finish the the game or compete, taking an L, than to quit. And that's a mentality that it's a hard one, because not everyone has the like the born ability to okay, I'm okay with an L. Mm-hmm. I feel like sometimes we're afraid of losing if we're winning.
Yeah. I mean. So it wasn't just that experience. And by the way, side note, I want to go back to what you think that coyote meant by don't lose yourself in this country. I want to Stick a pin in that.
Cool.
But I mean, outside of that experience, man, I was raised by an amazing mom, dude.
That's good.
My mother is literally everything to me. Like, straight up. I mean, she loved me unconditionally, supported me. Nothing had a condition on it, you know. And if I was even remotely inspired with something, like she would not only encourage it, but she would. I mean, she was the hockey mom. She was the soccer mom. She'd pile kids up and go on the road and drive us everywhere, all while working at least 2 jobs. You know what I mean? And she was just like that, man. And I remember she used to wake me and my sister up in the middle of the night, like just to like drop gems on us sometimes. Like, cause she worked 2 jobs, and so like at night watching TV late at night, like that was her me time. And every now and again she would wake us up and she'd call us downstairs. She'd be like, Chris, Jackie. And we come downstairs just like, what, Mom? Like, Jesus Christ, like, fucking, you serious? And I'll never forget this, man. I was probably like 8 or 9 at the time, and she said to me and my sister, she was like, Chris, Jackie, I want you to know that no matter what you want to do with your life, and I remember she said this, she was like, I don't care if you want to be a janitor. No disrespect to janitors, but she said, I don't care if you want to be a janitor. Be the best janitor you can possibly be, and I love you no matter what. And I'm not kidding. I'm not being hyperbolic. I did not sleep that night. I remember that because it felt so good to have that oasis. Like, it felt like I didn't have to be anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could be loved fully right there.
That's unconditional love.
Unconditional love. I think it's one of the most powerful vibrations out there, man, because that helped me dream big, man. Come on, man. I wanted to play in the NHL when I was growing up in South Carolina. There was no hockey. What kind of insanity is that? And she didn't laugh at me.
She was like, hey, if you can do it, do it. Yeah.
She bought me rollerblades, bro.
There we go. Damn. That's
and that same year, we got a roller hockey league going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we started playing ice hockey. And I remember she drove us to Atlanta because she was thinking about moving to Atlanta. She drove just to check out the job. We went to Atlanta, and I brought my hockey stuff with me, my roller hockey stuff with me. No prospects to play hockey, but just to go out
just
there.
To be ready.
Yo, when we pulled up, we were driving down the street, and there was a roller hockey rink, and there were just a bunch of kids like skating around, like playing hockey out there. And I was like, Mom, like, pull over. I'm like 13 at the time. Yeah. Bro, we just rolled up to this roller rink. I remember it's called Sparkles.
Okay.
And I just put on my shit and started rolling around and skating around with the players there inside. And one of the teams needed an extra player.
Yeah.
And that's like that team. We were the worst team in the freaking tournament. We got blown out every single time, but I was the best player out there. And that tournament right there, I met like 3 or 4 different people that ended up being like future teammates for me when I moved to Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? So it's just like little by little, letting go of how is this going to work out, letting go of where I'm at right now, and just put myself out there and swan diving into whatever I'm passionate about. Like, that's what I'm saying. The universe will tilt your way. If you align your passions with your actions, like it may not happen in your timeline, but you keep going. That's one thing I truly believe about successful people. I mean, not everybody pulls a LeBron James straight out of high school, this phenom.
Right.
Like, whatever your facet is, even if it's not sports, like listen to people that are successful. They talk about it's a game of hard knocks. The losses, the oceans of L's they swam through in order to get to that W and get that opportunity and this, that, and the other. And the one thing that is consistent with every single one of them is they just didn't give up. They kept going.
It's a longevity, man. Like, the longevity in the process, it gives you experience. And then from experience, I feel like you can deal with situations, because if you get the success from 0 to, like the next day, you're not going to know what the fuck to do with it. And then, like you said, you build up and, you get this step. And, what if you were born in a place where, maybe there was a hockey league and it was already there in front of you. The passion, I don't think, would be the same as, not having it in front of you whenever you first time you saw it, like, oh, hell yeah, I'm on my game. Even if you had the worst season, but you were able to build something from it.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah. Dude, that's something that, like, I'm also, like, I love the processes. And that's why I think that's one thing that I've learned to understand is just be patient in things. Because you don't never, like, for me, it's all about timings too. It's all about, about when you get somewhere. It's, sometimes when you want it right there and there, it might not happen. It's okay, but just stay around. Just keep the loop going, just keep it going, because eventually that's helping you prepare for when the day comes to do something amazing. And then, like, say, in this podcast, that's what it's been, dude. Like, it's been conversations with people that, can have the biggest following, or sometimes he's just a friend that I want to bring in. Like, dude, let's just have a chat and talk about, like, get to know about your life, or, share something you have in mind. But that's something that I'm a huge fan of. And I've learned to appreciate too, because, I mean, at 38 years old, you're looking back and like, okay, yeah, there's things that I know, like, maybe I could have done different, but overall, like, not having regrets. And it's just like, dude,
no regrets, man.
Everything that has happened, you enjoy it.
No regrets. Yo, being empty. That was another thing about I'll take an L. Is, if I know I exhausted myself, man, I gave you everything.
Yeah.
I emptied the fucking tank and I still lost. It's like, I'm happy, man. I can sleep with that, man.
Yeah.
But I know I could fool everybody in the world.
Yeah.
But I know when it gets quiet and I go to bed at night, I know what I had in the tank.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to go to sleep with, like, dude, it feels good to just be there competing.
Yeah.
And
straight up.
Having that opportunity to compete.
Having the opportunity to compete, man. And, even with certain dreams and aspirations, even if they don't, in the end, turn out to be exactly what I wanted, when I wanted, it'll take me so much further. Mm-hmm. And the path will be so much more meaningful and significant to me. I mean, I wanted to play in the MLS, dog. I wanted to play in the NHL. I wanted to play both sports. That was my dream, and it didn't work out. But I would not be the artist that I am today. I would not be the person. Yeah. I don't know if I'd even be sober today.
But you got the opportunity to do the mural for an MLS team.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. And I've worked with the NFL. I've worked with the NBA. I've worked with the MLS. You know what I'm saying? I get to do it with my art, something I've been doing since I was a child. Mm-hmm. I get to share that with other people, man. I get to connect with other people in ways that, this is what I'm saying. Like, if you follow your passions, you know what I mean? My mother used to send me these postcards, man, when I was away at school. I was away up in New England, going to school for like 7 years. Mm-hmm. And we used to write each other letters, like writing letters. No email, write letters. And she used to send me cards. Mm-hmm. You know those cheesy little inspirational cards, like, success is a journey, not a destination. You know what I mean? I love those. And she sent me two actually, that I really love. One was, in life, there'll be many things that catch your eye, but only a few that catch your heart. Pursue those.
And, dude,
come on, man.
Dang.
You're a heart. There's no yo. What is in my heart, man? That's something that my mother has always encouraged. Mm-hmm. Always encouraged. Anything that I was passionate about, yo, do it. Like, I remember I did a book report when I was a kid on Jackie Robinson. Okay. And, aside from being the first African-American player in the MLB, in college, he was a tri-sport All-American. Mm-hmm. And I learned that, and I went home and I told my mom, I said, yo, that's what I want to do. Yeah. She was, without even hesitating, she was like, do it.
Damn, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
That's deep. That's
like, how many parents would be like, come on.
Really?
Really,
Roger?
Really? Really?
Really, Chris?
She never said really.
Yeah.
Never.
She's like, go for it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my mother was an amazing person. She is an amazing person. She passed in 2009, but yo, she had a prime example of what not to be because of her mother. Mm-hmm. It was the polar opposite.
Okay.
Like, everything was conditional with my grandmother. All love, all support, anything had a price on it. Mm. And my mother ended up leaving, at 17, putting herself through college. Marrying my father, who was African American. My grandmother had a problem with that too. Mm-hmm. She was abused in many, many ways, but she was one of those people that, in spite of the horrors, she turned it 180 degrees, and I'm not even just me and my sister. I'm talking everybody, man. Mm-hmm. She gave. Okay. She was a giver, man. If she had 2 pennies and you needed one, she'd give you both. I saw her do it. Bro, I saw her do it my entire life, and I didn't get it. It used to piss me off sometimes how much she gave. Like I remember there was one time she was like falling asleep at the dinner table at night, doing somebody's taxes, like nodding off, like doing somebody's taxes. And she looked like shit. She looked run down, and I hated seeing her like that. And I woke her up. I was a teenager. I woke her up, and I was like, Mom, what are you doing? Go to bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You look like shit. Like, what are you doing? She was like, I'm doing somebody's taxes. I'm like, Mom, why? Why are you doing somebody's taxes right now when you got to go to work in like 6 hours? And she like sat up and looked at me and was just like, Chris, because it makes me happy.
That's good.
And I had no clue what she was talking about at the time, but I had zero retort, zero comeback. Like that's what I'm talking about. Giving, emptying yourself, being useful, building temples in other people's hearts. Like that's what inspires people. Like you want to live forever, give, empty yourself.
And then like say for example, it doesn't just have to be monetary. It could just be showing up and I don't know,
being present.
That's a
you ain't got to say shit.
Yeah,
just be there.
Yeah,
it's powerful.
That's I have a group of friends that we play every Thursday, and like with this dude, I've had friends for years, but it's like we're about 6 of us, and dude, all we got to do is just show up, play, and afterwards hang out and talk. And we've been able to build like a true friendship to where I know like these guys right here are gonna be my boys forever. And the one thing that I got to learn is just like, dude, you just have to be there and hang out. Like you don't gotta do anything. You don't gotta be posting for anything. Trying to be someone you're not. And then like even like now where you get a little bit of recognition in some places. I was like going back there because. These guys right here, they just bring you down to the earth, and it's just like, this is where you feel like you're with your boys, And then even with my parents, they're the same way too. We grew up in a Christian environment, and my parents, they always try to find a way to help anyone with problems. And I think my parents, we went through a bunch of situations, but they always learned how to stick together and how to work things out in life. So you get that from them, maybe like the economic part is not there, but the principle, the morals, the values, it's there, and you take that with you, and it's like, okay, it's easier for you because you've seen it from your parents, which, like say for you, your mom, she was your prime example. Like she was the one that showed up, you could probably would have seen something similar on TV or through someone else, but like having that in your household, that's a huge blessing.
Oh man. Trust me. I mean, it took me years of, processing grief and whatnot. But man, the gratitude I developed for having a mother like that physically, I still have her. I know some people might not believe me, but I'm closer to her now than I've ever been.
That's good.
Spiritually.
Did you talk to her at night? Like
I talk to her like I'm talking to you, man.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was the best person to talk to, especially when life got confusing or overwhelming or something like that. She could have you back to neutral in a few sentences. And that's one of the things I really missed about her sometimes. But nowadays I just get quiet, man. And it's like, I know exactly what you say. I know. Yeah. So, I mean, be grateful to have a parent, even just one parent that loved me and supported me unconditionally. Like that's something that so many people don't even have, man. So many people don't have. And that's why I talk about her as much as I do. And I try to not emulate her, but share her lessons, because that love, this is what I'm talking about, living forever. Like how you live forever is you give, man. Yeah. She gave. Like, it'd be nice to have my name on a stadium somewhere, and be nice to have, stuff in museums, but with time that goes, man. Yeah. What gets passed down is what you give. People remember how you made them feel.
I agree.
Do you have anything like that in your family? Like, what's your family life like?
Dude, so my parents, I mean, they're around. They're in Galveston right now. We talk every week or every other day. So I'm pretty close to them. My sister, I would say like with her, she's more like a lovely relationship. Like we can talk about things. With my brother, it's just more about like the dude that I know. He will never judge any decisions I make. And then he would just be like, oh, there goes Richie doing his thing. Like when I started the podcast, my parents are super Christian, and I started drinking in front of them on the camera, and my dad was like, Ricardo, ¿qué estás haciendo? Eso no es de Dios.
What does that mean?
Like, it's not from God, and what are you doing? And I'm like, I sent him a message because it was after we had a sex ed, and then I was like, look, man, she actually gave me props because of the way you guys raised us, and I shared a lot of our relationships, you know, as a family, and I think I'm trying to bring those values into a microphone. So you gotta support me in this. Like,
yeah, man.
You know, you gotta. Yes, it's questionable. It's a little bit, you know.
Man, this is the bridge to the future right here. What you're doing, man.
There we go, and appreciate it. And then and he's like, yeah, just don't get out of hand. Like, I won't. So now he's a little more laid back. I can actually drink a beer in front of him, but it took a while. Yeah. I think he finally got to understand the picture. Like, okay, this is what they're trying to do. But every day he'll send me like, hey, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Like similar to your mom, my parents had that because whenever I wanted to do something, like I'm the type of person that if I see it, I'm going to do it. Like I'm going to, you know, even if it takes some time, I'm going to like try to get there.
You're a creator, man.
Yeah. So, and from that, like they're always like, hey, you know, just do your thing, but never forget where you came from, and always try to, you know, like think about God. Even if you don't go to church, I'm like, yeah, I think about God. You know, I question his decisions, but I still think about him. Like, you know, I feel like that's how I get closer. So I think that has helped because even before, you know, we recorded, my mom called me like, hey, you coming tomorrow? Like to Houston? Like, yeah, I have a straight show. Like, all right, so we're going to eat dinner at night. Like, yeah, we're going to eat dinner at night. So it's cool. Like, I don't mind it. But there's times that I'm busy. I'm like, Mom, let me call you right back. Like, okay, beautiful. Call me when you're done. And I call her like 1 a.m. after everything. She's like, okay, so what's the plan?
That's beautiful, man.
So, but yeah, man, it's a cool thing, dude. Like, I think for me, family, like, you know, you grew up around family, and that's, it helps a lot because for the type of person that I am, I think, you know, it's good that I have them, but it's also good the fact that I learned how to kind of like separate myself from them and not feel too dependent on them so I can do some decisions because I don't want to be stressing them out with my problems or my situations.
Right.
Like, say I like if there's something that I have, I like to just figure out and like, okay, let's just try to solve it, get it done and move on, but not try to get them involved whenever I have a problem because for me it's like, dude, I'm 38 years old and even though I know for sure they're always going to be there, they have their own stuff, you know, but they say like mothers never change. They're always going to be looking out for their kids.
Oh man, you will all. My mother used to say this too, man. You'll always be my baby.
Yeah. And
it used to annoy the shit out of me when I was younger, man. But I get it. I get it, man. That's a mother's love, man. Yeah. A mother's love is not to take anything away from fathers at all, but a mother's love. I mean, you grew from them, and they carried you for 9 months, and they have a love for you that is undying. You know what I mean? It won't change. And it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah. And like say, do you have any other family like right now you're close to or?
I mean, me and my sister are closer than we were, especially after my mom passing. But, you know, to this day, this was weird. My father is one of 9 kids. Okay. So I have a huge family that I've been procrastinating like a mofo, getting to know them, man. But it's like I need to.
Yeah.
Because I have so many cousins, man. Some of that I keep in touch with online and this, that, and the other. But I need to just go out there and see them. You know what I'm saying?
Over in North Carolina area?
North Carolina, D.C., Baltimore. I think I just a few members in Texas somewhere.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a big side of my family that I've yet to tap into. But outside of that, my friends have always been family.
That's
you know. Cool. I always have deep, profound love and connection to my Mexican people, man.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm half black, half white, and I grew up in there. I was born in '82, so we're about the same age. And you know, where I grew up in South Carolina, Hilton Head, like to this day, put it this way, to this day, the gated communities there are called plantations.
Okay.
Just to give you a temperature, you know what I mean? So there were a lot of instances where I felt too white are too black. But one of my Mexican friends, my first Mexican friend, Fermin, who lives here in Austin now, his whole family's from here, but we grew up in South Carolina. Like, they took me in, man, and they just treated me like a member of the family, you know what I mean? Got tricked into eating fucking lengua.
How's that like?
It was fucking delicious, man. It was like after school one day, I was hungry as shit, and we went over to his house. We were eating these delicious ass tacos. Yeah. And I noticed Fermin kept on looking at me like smirking. I was like chewing like,
the hell,
what you looking at? He's like, is that good? And I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, you know what you're eating? Like cow tongue. And I was just like, took me like 30 seconds. I was like, fuck it, it's delicious. Good, man. To this day, man, give me some lengua tacos with some cilantro and onions, some salsa verde. We're good.
Which do you have a spot you go to in Austin for tacos?
Ah, man, there's so many. There's not just one.
Hey, man,
I haven't found the spot yet.
Yeah.
Nah, not one. More times than not, it's those little no-name trailers like outside the club. Yeah. To be real with you.
Or down in Lamar, like around this area.
Yeah.
Shit ton of them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's hidden gems. Like, dude.
I know.
Because the prices are still like where it should be.
Yeah. It's just somebody's mom.
Yeah.
You know, there's somebody's aunt out there cooking. It's delicious.
Nah, there's I see a couple of them, and I just ask them, like, because there's been a lot of cops around this, this area patrolling. And I ask them, I always come like, hey, how's everything for you guys? Like, man, sometimes the cops come over and like place an order. I'm like, what? That's good. That's good. He's like, yeah, they don't mess with us. I'm like, okay, that's a good thing to have. But so you grew up with your friend Fermin and then his family. What is something you felt like you learned from, like, the Mexican culture through Fermin and his family?
It just how. I mean, again, I didn't have a big family. It was just me, my mom, and grandparents, and my sister. But that was the first time I saw, like, just how warm the family was. And, like, even friends would come over, and he had some uncles. Like, it was no shit, like 10 people living in, like, a 2-bedroom apartment. And everybody's so fucking warm. And, the ladies would be cooking for the men, and they'd always be blasting loud-ass music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Tejano music. And, I started playing soccer. Probably from, he played for the Austin Bold, Sonny Guadarrama.
My boy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. His father was my first soccer coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've been playing with them. He and Willie and Sergio Jr. That was my first team that we played. Like that, honestly, my passion for soccer came from his father.
Oh wow, that's an interesting.
I got a picture. I got a picture right now, man. I could show you little ass Sonny like playing with us, man. Because I'm a couple years older, but Sonny, his shin guards went up to his knees, bro. That's how tight he was.
Yeah, dude.
He'd be out there balling too.
Yeah. Sonny, man, he was actually go pro and did some good stuff. And came back, and I think now what he's doing with the MLS, the Apple TV deal, he works. Some of the games here at Q2, some of the games in Kansas, but he's a good dude, man. And he's trying to bring that, what he learned through soccer to like the kids through training, which is pretty badass. Because instead of going somewhere else, he decided to come back to his own place and like, all right, let me show them what I learned, and that's good, man. Let me go into your art and go into more like, say, when you moved to Austin. So in the Uncle Roger episode I listened to, you talked about moving to Austin and then coming in to, just to be surrounded by people that have passion. And then this is something you felt that you got what you wanted when you moved here, or was it just something that what was your expectation before you came, and what was your reality when you hit it?
It exceeded my expectations, even though there was no, I didn't have any momentum when I first moved here. Like, I didn't know anybody. I knew Fermin and one of my best friends, he was the captain of our soccer team in college, Dan Abrams, but he lived out in Fort Hood.
Okay.
So he let me stay with him when I first moved out here. I stayed with him for like 2 months. And I would just come down to Austin and I'd set up my easel on, South Congress, and just paint, and sometimes sell some paintings. But most of the time I wouldn't sell. But every time I would set up, I'd meet somebody.
Okay.
And that's how I got it popping out here. So it exceeded my expectations because the scene was alive here, the art scene, like the visual art scene, but it was very spread out. Mm-hmm. And nobody was painting live when I came out here. Nobody. Like everybody I asked about, hey man, you mind if I paint live? They're like, what do you mean paint live? Yeah. now mad people paint live, man. I don't want to say I brought it to the city, but like, you know, it really wasn't happening until I got out here, man. And that's been one thing that I've been able to build out here. And I think it's because of it being not a major city. Mm-hmm. Like I lived in Atlanta, I've been to New York. Like I wasn't looking to live in a major city, but you know, Austin's big enough to get lost in the crowd, but it's still small. Yeah,
it feels small. It still feels like a small city.
Right. And so, it being an entertainment city like it is, mm-hmm. people really do support the arts, and I felt that support and that love. And, that's one thing that I've really felt since I moved out here, was supported and loved.
Mm-hmm. What was your first project or your mural here in Austin after, doing the live paintings, and, what was something that you did that was memorable? Or
the first mural, the opportunity that I got was on East 12th in Chicon. Mm-hmm. And I met it was a gallery at the time, mm-hmm. and I met the two owners, husband and wife, on South Congress. Okay. I was painting, and they just came up to me, and we got to talking, and they told me I had this big-ass wall, and I could basically paint whatever I want, but it wasn't even a paid gig. It wasn't. But it was a nice, busy intersection, so I just saw it as like a calling card. Yeah, so I did it, and this was on the east side, like 2012, like maybe 2 years before the gentrification really started to pop over there. Mm-hmm. So it was still black and brown people over there, mm-hmm. and that particular intersection that's where all the drug deals went down.
Okay,
like put it this way, I didn't work on that mural at night.
It was all in the morning.
All during the day, broad daylight, man. It was still kind of iffy out there in daylight, but it was. I knew that was an opportunity to say something and to bring some color to that area, so I did, and I just lit it up. I painted like Michael Jackson on there with Salvador Dali and these bats and fire and James Brown and just a whole bunch of color, and like people would come up to me all the time and just like thank me. Mm-hmm. Literally thank me, like, yo, thank you for painting this out here.
That's good, man.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that was a big legacy wall, because it ended up getting painted over in 2017, mm-hmm. When the gentrification really hit in. And all I did is post about it on Facebook, and it went viral. Mm-hmm. Like the news outlets picked it up and everything like that. And long story short, they got me back to paint another rendition of it. But this time I got to paint it when I was almost 4 years sober. Mm-hmm. So I got to take it to a whole nother level. I got to paint it with that same passion, but now it was directed, it was evolved, and I was present, mm-hmm. and I was able to actually say something,
And that's like, so sometimes when you create something, especially artists, I know, it's like, say, for example, for me, I grew up, I'm an accountant, right? That's my full-time job. And you're surrounded by numbers, and getting the mindset of, money, and taking it to like, okay, the first couple of years is going to be some paid, like not paid stuff. It's going to be exposure, getting your name out there. That's true. I'm lucky to have done, and I still do sometimes, the social media for La Murga, the band. Mm-hmm. And through that, I've been able to get, I got an article, done for photography and a couple more things. But a lot of it it's just, my goal was just to get out there and find a way to contribute and put out there, some cool shit, like people's just expression in the game, instead of going out there for the money. Because if it was for the money, it would have not been as passionate.
Right.
It would have just been, I still would have done it, but it would have felt like a job. And here it's like, okay, everything comes out different, Don't get me wrong. If someone ever pays me for a gig, I'm always down to do it. But then doing those, like when you're getting your name out there, it's great, because that's the one thing you need to do as a creative, I think. Do it as much as you can for free, because eventually whatever you're looking for is gonna come through. But you gotta, you gotta like upgrade yourself every time you're doing something.
Yeah, no doubt. No, Look, I want to make as much money as I possibly can doing what I love, but I'm not willing to do it at any price. You know, another thing that really helped me early on when I was broke, which was for years. This was not an overnight thing at all. What helped me traverse those times was redefining my idea of success and what's really valuable. And what's most valuable to me is my time. I learned that from my mother's passing. That was the first person that I really, really loved that I lost, where it was like the finality of life was thrust upon me. And there's no, you know, everybody back to your spaces from the top. You know, there's no do-overs. There's no bringing it back. Like, that time is done, and when it's done, which is a beautiful place to be when you understand. Like, it'll bring a very healthy urgency into your life. It'll bring some gratitude in your life. And so that's one thing that I had early on, is an urgency and understanding that my time is more valuable than anything. My health is more valuable than anything. And what I'm able to create, the time that I'm putting into my art each day is going to me and to help other people and inspire other people and bring beauty to other people and entertain other people. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's valuable to me. And if I can make millions, billions doing that,
hell yeah.
That's the dream, bro.
Yeah.
But I'm already rich before I even get paid. That's the difference. See, that it's all backwards, and maybe that's what those coyotes were talking about. Don't lose yourself. And when I went down to Costa Rica in 2010 after my mom passed away, I was down there backpacking in Central America, in Costa Rica and Panama, and it shifted me, man. It really shifted. That was the first time I'd been outside the country for an extended period of time, and we weren't around the resorts or anything. We were out in the country, we were out in the beaches, we were up in the mountains with locals, man, people that didn't have shit, but were so full of life and so open and so giving and so full of life. That's the best way that I could describe it. And it shook me from this American dream. Because it was like, these people are happy. These people have meaning. These people get it. This is reality. And they don't have shit. They be laughed at in America. What do you own? What do you have? I'm talking like, there was one time where we were backpacking up in the mountains, and I mean, we ran out of water one day and we were roughing it. And me and my friend got split up because he had to go to the hospital because we drank some bad water. But long story short, I ended up hitchhiking and trying to get back to our home base, which was across the country and on to the Pacific side. And I had long ass dreadlocks at the time. And so I got stuck in this town in the middle of Costa Rica, which is mainly indigenous people. And I didn't know there was some serious racial tensions between the Caribbean side and the indigenous. Right?
Yeah, over there, it's, you know, I heard some, you know, like, say, the Dominican Republic and Haiti, like right in the border. You know, it's crazy. Yeah. So long story short, I got stuck. Nobody would give me a ride. Like anywhere else in Costa Rica, you hitchhike, people pick you up. You know, and I'm stuck out there and I'm broke, and I was stuck on the side of the road all day. And at the end of the day, this little tica, teenage chick with dreadlocks, who was obviously a hitchhiker too, she traveled. She came up to me, and my Spanish was okay at the time. I could do very elementary. And she asked me what was going on, and I told her, and she was like, "You go back here, man. You could take a shower." I hadn't showered in a week. Dang.
She was like, "You can shower here. I'll cook you some food." And we went back there. She showed me this photo album of her and her boyfriend and their travels and everything like that. And I took the shower, and it was in this little thing where the water was barely coming out. And she fried me up some plantains.
See? Dude.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the next day I happened to get a ride out of there, but it was just like, where would that happen in America? Never.
It would be hard.
But you see what I'm saying? Like that, maybe that's what the coyotes were talking about. Like, don't lose yourself, because there's something, everything that glitters is not gold.
I agree.
And there's definitely some opportunity here to make money, but there's also some opportunity to start believing that money and power and accolade and people seeing you in a certain light is where you're going to find meaning and happiness. Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is we were all born with meaning.
I agree with that. I think sometimes it's hard for people to find their meaning, or sometimes the expectation that they give them for their meaning, it's someone imposing it on them. Mm-hmm. Like I knew this one kid. He was, he could have his uncle was a professional soccer player, and his meaning in life, even he was prophesied over by this, pastors. Oh, you're gonna be the next Abuelo Cruz. You're gonna be playing like in Mexico, and you're gonna be doing this World Cups and that. But that didn't happen. Mm. This whole time, it was this people just feeding him about soccer, feeding him about him being this, this guy, which he was great, and I'm pretty sure he could have made it. But like there was never, okay, have you thought about a backup plan? Have you thought about like, hey, what if that doesn't happen? What are you gonna do with your life? Plan B. Never, dude. Never. I never heard someone tell him. And I asked him like, hey, dude, like, what are you gonna do with your life? Like, if you don't play soccer? He's like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna play soccer. I'm like, okay. It's different because I know you have your uncle's connection, but you're not in Mexico. You're here. If you were in Mexico, it'd be a lot easier because, your uncle's right there. You'll be under his wing and he'll bring you to, to one of the biggest teams in Monterrey. You're here, like, in Galveston. Like, what's your next, like, you're just in case. Nah, man, I don't know. They pretty much, they put it on him. He's going to be doing this. Like, all right, cool. That didn't come through. My boy just, like, weighing downhill. And it's just, you can see it where, like, right now, I don't know where he's been or whatever. Man, I need to catch up with him soon. But it's just you can see him. And that changed, like, his mindset. And it didn't go well. He lost a lot of friendships from what I know. But a lot of it is just because he didn't understand that, like, dude, okay, find your meaning, and it's your own meaning. It's not what everybody's imposing you. It's something you want to do, and without the expectations of fulfilling someone else's dream. Follow your own shit. Mm-hmm. And it's hard, man, because it's in the Christian world, you see it a lot, dude, where some people, oh, your dad is a pastor, you're gonna be a pastor, and then that's why a lot of pastors' kids end up in wrong places or in bad situations because this whole time, they're pushed to be something that they're probably not. They probably don't want to be that, Right. They probably want to be something different.
Yeah. No, I think that's a huge mistake in parenting. I'm not a parent yet, but just going off the way I was raised, and I have friends that had the opposite experience, and you can't force kids. You can't force kids, man. Like after a certain age, the best you can do is guide them. Because they're going to do what they're going to do. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I can honestly say is like, me and my sister could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? What do you like doing? And honestly, early on, my mother would just kind of like introduce us to stuff. Like she tried tennis. Mm. I like tennis now. I wish I would have stuck with it. It's a badass sport. But at the time when I was like 7 or 8, I was like, nah, not for me, man. Need something faster. I like teammates. You know what I mean? I like the team aspect. But like whatever we try, like if we didn't like it, she was like, all right, don't.
Do something else there, right?
Again, like that, it was the polar opposite. My mother had to do that. You got to do this. You better do that. You have to do this.
Yeah. Because
I said so.
Nah, man, that's good. That's good. The fact that whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. Yeah.
It's powerful, man. I feel like that's all you need to tell, especially kids, but even, dude, so even nowadays, like sometimes if I'm trying something new out or something like that, man, it feels good to just hear somebody say like, man, you could do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do it.
Because you already did like a couple more things. Like, why not add one more? You know
what I mean? Go ahead.
One more. What do you call it? One more stress to the plate.
Exactly.
You already know you can do it.
All you need to hear sometimes is yes, you can.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's powerful.
That. Yeah. I have my nephews and nieces. They're getting one of my oldest nephew. He grew up with me from some time, and he got into soccer, he got into wrestling, and then he got into music. And he also got into, photography. So he's trying to at his age, he's better than me in all of those aspects. And I don't tell him like he, like give it to him like, oh dude, you're gonna like, I don't get jealous by it. I'm actually like happy for it. Like, dude, I'm glad you're trying out all of this stuff, and go ahead and try out some more things. You want to get into physics, whatever. Yeah. But do something that you're gonna be able to have experiences with. Forget about the big shit, like the nice shoes. Forget about all that. Just get those experiences, because once you get older, you're gonna understand. Like, it's not about having the Balenciagas. Sometimes you don't need the Balenciagas. You need to learn how to do is the best picture you can take. And then he's changed his way of thinking. So, and now that he got a job, he's like, yeah, I gotta watch my budget. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, that's and a lot of it is hard, dude, because even like, say for example, looking at it, so as an immigrant, you have there's things that you want to do, but you can't do it because there's a limitation. Like, say for example, my dream is to go to Mexico soon, and I can go but not come back. Right. So it's like, heck, what can I do? It's I already feel like I did some stuff here, but I want to do something in the place I was born, even if it's something minimal. But that's just I think that's just the one thing that like maybe like right now is just kind of like has me lingering on my mind over and over. Like, all right, dude, time is money, bro. Like, it's already been 23 years, and they haven't done anything up there. What the heck? But I tell myself, at the end of the day, you did everything you could, bro. Like, whatever happens in the future, it is what it is.
Bro, come on, man. Like, you crossed the border and fucking made it as an illegal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, living the dream. And I'm pretty sure you can help your people back in Mexico, long distance or whatever you need to do, man. Like, I don't know. It sounds like a success story to me.
Appreciate it, man. I think it is. I believe it is.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, I mean, look, there's another reason that I wanted to pursue my art is because I wanted to pursue something that didn't have a ceiling on it, and something that, whenever I wanted to change courses, I could. Mm-hmm. Something that wasn't fixed.
Okay.
A dream that wasn't fixed. A dream that was undefined. A dream that could always change.
And art is always changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, even life is like that. You know what I mean? Like, you've been doing this. Like, who knows? Could you have called the last 5 years when someone asked you, like, what's your 5-year plan? Could you have called any of this?
You have in mind some things, but not like the way it is now.
Right. Of course, you have like aspirations and goals and like, okay, I'd like to do that. But like how things have turned out, when they turned out, there had to have been some curveballs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just like, I always think of like going to the 5-year thing. I always think of it as like, do something now. So whenever you're the next 5 years is like, okay, he's going to prepare you. Whatever you're doing now is going to help you one way or another in the future, like in that 5-year mark. And I think that I would say that's, a true testament of life, because you can only plan so far ahead. You can't plan 20 years ahead. People buy like that's why I think like the housing market is like so stupid, because why do you want someone to have a 30 year, plan in a house? Who knows what's going to happen in the next 5 years or in the next year, if there's another pandemic in the future. Like, but if you give tools to people like, okay, think more of what are you going to do in a short-term plan? What do you have in mind to do? And then try to find ways to get there. Maybe you're going to get there like specifically, maybe you're going to get somewhere different, but in a similar situation. But whatever you're doing now, and if, you're sticking to whatever you have in mind, it's going to somehow cross paths. Mm-hmm. Like when you are MLS, NFL.
Exactly.
So
that's what I'm saying, man. Life is surprising, man. I think it's full of amazing surprises, not bad ones. I think it's an amazing experience, especially when you just keep showing up and never give up.
Hell yeah.
Following your heart.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And like right now, what is something that you do to remain sane? Especially that, there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of, constant, I feel like not even social media pressure, but just constant, you know, the camera's always on, basically. What is something that you do to, this is me, Chris, just relaxing and doing my thing so I can reset?
I try to get a little bit of nature every single day, even if it's just going outside for 15, 20 minutes and being barefoot in the grass and sunshine, like just being outside in nature a little bit. Definitely being around people that are positive. I'm a gatekeeper when it comes to stuff like that. I'm cool with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm cool with everybody, and I mean that. Even people that I'm not cool with, I'm cool with. I love people.
Yeah.
But the people I surround myself with most are people that have big hearts, that are optimistic, that are inspirational, that are able to be authentic and to be real. They don't have to be happy all the time. They don't have to be this, that. Just people that are real and people that allow me to be real around them as well. I don't have to be anything but myself around them. Those are people I surround myself with because that's what's real. Because, online and on the news or whatever outlet there is, like it's all noise, man.
Yeah.
It's all noise to distract me and to scare me and to make me anxious and take me away from the blessing that is life right now, right here, right now. It's a beautiful blessing, man, to even wake up. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, that's good, man. I think I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
I think
we all need to hear it, dude. Look, I feel like this is why I need other people, man.
Yeah.
When I spend too much time alone, for better or for worse, think of Google Maps. I get all the way zoomed in. I see everything. Everything is so important. Everything. I'm a day late and $1 short. Everything's a competition, and it's just not. And when I'm around other people, like I told you about, it just helps me zoom out, man.
Yeah.
It helps me remember that 98% of the shit that I'm really concerned about, that I'm warped over, that I'm worried about, I can't control.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about the past. The future is yet to happen. I can't do anything about what you think about me or A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but all these things I have no jurisdiction over. And I'm reminded of that when I'm around good people, man. They help me zoom out. They help me redirect and refocus and just remember how beautiful this place is, man.
Dang, that's we all need a Chris in life, man. Appreciate you, dude. It's a great conversation. I think for the situation that that we're going through, like for me especially, it's one of those that like I feel like I'm a believer in timings, and this is just one of those episodes where like I got a lot more of it than that I could give to the guest sometimes.
Nah, man. Yeah, we're just talking.
Hell yeah, dude. But Chris, man, I want to hear more. Like, say before we leave, it's talk to a little about your current plans or your future plans. What are you working on?
Presently, I've been doing a lot of artwork with the comedy scene.
Okay.
I've been doing a lot of live art over the past few years with the comedy scene, and I paint live on Kill Tony podcast with Tony Hinchcliffe and Brian Redband. Okay. Brian Redband was the original producer for Joe Rogan Experience, and they both have a amazing podcast that just celebrated 10 years, and I've been painting live at their shows for 2.5 years now. So I've been doing that pretty much every Monday, and I'm working on a mural series at Tom Segura's podcast studio. He has a podcast called Your Mom's House. It's ridiculous. He and his wife, Christina P., hilarious. And they have a brand new studio in South Austin that I've been working on a mural series on since January.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 3 big walls, and they've been letting me do basically whatever I want. I mean, each one of the concepts had to be pre-approved, but each one of these walls are encompass ideas and concepts that I've been wanting to do for years. So they're letting me just swan dive and play.
Nice.
And they're letting me take as much time as I want to, which is amazing because more times than not, I don't know why, but people want artwork to be done in, if it takes 2 weeks, they want it done in 3 days. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Straight up. And so what I tell some people is like, I asked them, I'm like, do you want a piece of work or a work of art? Big difference. Both are going to look good, but one's going to make you feel amazing when you see it. And so that's what Tom and Christina and, you know, the people over at YMH have allowed me to do, is just be with this art and kind of step away from it and take my time and process. And like, I've leveled up in my art and concepts and skills and everything like that over the past 6 months because of this environment. So that's going on. But for the future, I got a few more big mural projects on the horizon, but ideally, man, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I'm ready to take what I'm doing. I want to be doing what I'm doing here in Austin all over the world.
Okay.
Exhibitions all over the world, murals all over the world. A lot of my artwork, especially my murals, I like to tell stories aesthetically. And I like to correlate a lot of the topics that we've been talking about in this conversation right here, you know, unity and together and emptying yourself and inspiration and being used for others and emptying yourself into other people and inspiring other people and just experiences that I've had in sobriety too, which are applicable to what's going on with the world nowadays too. So yeah, I'd like to be doing a lot of murals like that around the world, just creating portals, aesthetic portals for people to come and be inspired, be healed, be moved, be taken to a place that elevates them.
Have you? Do you have like a country in mind you're gonna first work on?
I mean, I'd like to go everywhere. I mean, I definitely want to go to Europe, but I think before that, I want to go to South America, Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, all over. There's not a country in South America that I don't want to go to. I definitely want to go to like New Zealand, Southeast Asia, all over, man. There's a whole world out there. Like I said, I've only been to Costa Rica and Panama. That's it.
Yeah.
I've been everywhere you can go in the country, huge, basically. I know, this is what I'm saying. Like, there's a whole world out there, and there's so many people I've yet to meet and to connect with, and that's really what I look forward to, man, because I really do believe this, and this is something my mother helped me understand, is that the real currency that we have in this world is people, relationships, connections that we make with other people. Like, no man is an island.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody's self-made. I don't give a shit what you say.
That's good. That's a good thing. Yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of the times, even when we do something for ourselves, you have a group of people behind you that help you get there, and you can never forget that.
Of course not, man. Yeah, no, man. If I could do it all by myself, look, if I was the creator, like, I'd be able to knock out a masterpiece every single time, but I'm not. Like, inspiration comes from out. It's something that I absorb, something that I receive, and I express it. And it could be from a conversation. It could be just being out in the sun, barefoot in the grass. It could be the way a girl looks, or whatever it is, man. It's something that I perceive, receive, something that I take in. Comes from outside of me.
You can bring it in.
Exactly.
And then especially when you're surrounding yourself with amazing people like you've done recently, it's great, you know?
Yeah, man.
That's always good, man. And man, appreciate you, dude.
Thank you.
It's been an honor, like I said earlier, and hopefully it's not one of the, you know, we get a couple more conversations in the future, but, you know, it'll be cool to, you know, have one right before you're about to board the plane to, you know, to a country we're going to do some dope ass work.
Yeah, let's go.
And anything we can do here to help you connect, like whether it's in Central America or, you know, Mexico.
Let's go to Mexico, bro.
Right there. I'll do my best, because I know there's a lot of there's like a lot of comedians that I follow that are finding ways to connect with the comedians here in America, which is like, it's pretty badass. Like, long story short, I had Carlos Vallarta. He's a pretty well-known comedian over there, and he started doing the comedy festival with Laugh Out Loud. And he came here in April, and he's also going to be doing the upcoming one. I believe it's in September in Montreal. So it's, you know, they're trying to find, you know, more connections with like, you know, I don't know how it is or what's going on, but I'm like, it's pretty cool, because, you know, the people that I see over there is like, they're coming here, connecting with the people that are here. Like, oh, great. That's what I'm all about, dude. Like for me, getting to see those connections there is like, oh, hell yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, anything we can do to, to see if we can get you plugged in over there.
I appreciate it.
I'll do my best.
Let's go.
Let's do it, man. Chris, my man.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. And thanks for everyone that listened to this episode. Follow us on Instagram, on every social media platform, as well as Spotify, YouTube. Don't forget to share, like, or subscribe. And anything you hear in this podcast, just let us know what you think. And, shoot us a message. What is something you can relate to? Se cuidan bien, se portan, y arriba el América. America is the best team in the world, by the way, and all that.
Let's go.